Have you ever had the feeling that something is watching you? No, not a person, not a camera, but something within. A presence behind your eyes, a voice beneath your thoughts. It knows every excuse you've ever made, every promise you broke, every quiet moment when you looked in the mirror and couldn't quite meet your own gaze. This is not paranoia, it's the truth. You are being watched by the part of you that still remembers who you were before you gave up. Most people live their entire lives never confronting this truth. They build routines around avoiding it, scrolling, snacking, working, performing, and they call it life. But every now and then, usually at 2:37 a.m., that silence creeps back in, and for a moment you feel it, the ache of the unlived life. You were not born to be a machine, you were born to become. Let me ask you a dangerous question. What would you be if you stopped lying to yourself? Not white lies, I mean the deep hidden lies, the ones that live in your bones. I'm doing my best. I'll start tomorrow. This is just how I am. These are not truths. They are defenses, psychological bunkers we build to avoid the battlefield of growth. But here's what they never told you. You are already at war. You just chose to stop fighting. In 1943, the German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer sat in a prison cell. He had watched his country fall into madness. He had watched the church stay silent while evil grew loud, and he chose to resist, not with violence, but with clarity. He once said, "The ultimate test of a moral society is the kind of world it leaves to its children." But what about the world we leave to ourselves? We are the children of our own choices. Every day you are creating the future version of yourself. One compromise, one indulgence, one act of courage at a time. The question is not, will you change? It's, who will you become? You see, the enemy isn't out there. It's the part of you that wants comfort more than character. Nietzsche warned us, "He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you." But most people never fight monsters. They negotiate with them. They rename their vices as coping mechanisms. They call cowardice humility. They call distraction self-care. And all the while, the real self starves in silence. Let me tell you a story. There once was a man who wanted to climb a mountain. Not just any mountain, the highest in his land. He trained, he studied, he sacrificed. But halfway up, he stopped. The weather got colder, the air got thin, his legs ached. He thought, maybe this is far enough. Most people never even got this high. So he built a cabin on the side of the mountain, and he stayed there. Years passed. He told stories of the climb. He inspired others to start, but he never reached the top. Why? Because the moment he stopped climbing, he started dying. Comfort is seductive. It doesn't come with a warning label, but it should. Warning: prolonged exposure to comfort may result in a meaningless life. You think you're safe, but the soul does not care about safety. It craves depth, struggle, awakening. Just like muscles need resistance to grow, your character needs pressure. Avoid pain too long, and you'll become a soft, bitter shadow of what you could have been. Plato taught that the soul is like a chariot, pulled by two horses, one noble, one wild. The noble horse seeks honor, truth, discipline. The wild one chases lust, laziness, ego. And you are the charioteer. Every day, you decide who leads. Every choice is a tug on the reins. But here's the problem. Most people let go of the reins entirely. They let instinct run the show. They feel lost because they are, not geographically, existentially. Let's talk about a bitter truth. Self-destruction often feels like self-love. Think about it. Ordering junk food when you're sad, avoiding hard conversations, staying in toxic relationships because they feel familiar. It's all disguised as comfort. But it's just fear in a costume. Real love is not indulgence. Real love is discipline. It's holding yourself to a higher standard, not out of shame, but because you believe in your potential. Machiavelli once wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But here's a deeper question. What if you are the one you fear? What if you're afraid of what would happen if you actually tried? If you showed up fully? If you burned the excuses and did what you know you're capable of? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Trying and failing is terrifying, but never trying, that's a slow death. Psychologists call it the false self. It's the version of you that was built to survive, not to thrive. You learned early on, be nice, don't be too loud, don't cry, don't dream too big. So you made yourself small, digestible, acceptable, and now, decades later, you wonder why you feel numb. The false self can win awards, it can make money, it can post perfect pictures, but it will never feel like home, because only the true self can breathe freely, and that self has been locked in the basement. So, what now? You've heard this before, in whispers. You've felt the quiet sting of truth in your chest, and maybe, just maybe, you're ready to come home to yourself. But don't expect applause. The world doesn't celebrate awakening. They'll say you've changed, that you're selfish, arrogant, obsessive. Let them talk. You are not here to be understood. You are here to become undeniable. One last story. A monk once said, "Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water." In other words, even after you wake up, life remains the same on the surface, but Mayumur are not the same. You see the fire behind the eyes of strangers. You feel the weight of every moment. You no longer run from yourself. You walk beside your shadow with open arms. So I leave you with this. You are not broken. You are unfinished. You are not lost. You are becoming. But becoming is not passive. It is a war, a sacred one, fought in the silence of your own soul. Every day you choose comfort or character, silence or truth, the false self or the one still waiting behind your eyes. Choose wisely. The mountain is still there and the summit is calling.